Hello and welcome to PN Snapshot. I'm Ollie Terry.
And I'm Chaewon Moon. We are both researchers at PIS Network.
Okay, so we have a very interesting topic for you today. Chaewon, please introduce it for us.
Okay. Recently, Reuters published details of the so-called de-nuke document that U.S. government showed to North Korea in the second summit. And even though it was first mentioned by John Bolton, a national security advisor in the U.S., the details have been first disclosed from Reuters.
Okay, Chaewon, can you please talk our viewers through some of the key points of this very important document?
Okay, in the article, there were 4 points that U.S. demanded to North Korea in terms of denuclearization. First one is that comprehensive declaration of its nuclear program and full access to U.S. and international inspectors. Second one is that halt all related activities and construction of any new facilities. Third one is to eliminate all nuclear infrastructure. And the last one is that transition all nuclear program scientists and technicians to commercial activities.
It's quite a large demand for the US to make. Isn't this too much?
Yes, especially U.S. demanded to transfer Pyongyang's nuclear matters and nuclear weapons to U.S. And it's kind of technical, not only technically but politically too much of a demand. And U.S. also demanded North Korea to fully dismantle not only nuclear weapons but biochemical weapons and related dual-use capabilities. This means that U.S. would monitor North Korea's use of not only biochemical weapons, but all related biochemical matters that can affect the daily life of just everyday people.
That's very interesting because in the build-up to this second summit in Hanoi, the Trump administration had been showing signs that they could be a little bit more flexible in their approach towards North Korea, and that was a source of hope. And now this revelation has shown that actually it's quite the opposite. They were going back to the old ways. So why do you think the US made such a unreasonable demand, as the North Koreans would say, or more specifically, gangster-like demand, despite showing these signs of flexibility?
Yes, that gangster-like expression is from North Korean government officers. And many experts analyze that U.S. set a high goal and demanded too much to make the later negotiation easier by setting up a high goal. But we need to keep an eye out on John Bolton, because this idea of banning biochemical weapons and the transfer of nuclear weapons to U.S. was first suggested by him, and now U.S. government seems to be pushing his idea. So about John Bolton, he kind of created a Libya model. So could you explain more about it?
Yes, I think this is one of the key takeaways from today's video, the Libya model. It's important to know what that is and why North Korea is so angry about it. So the Libya model refers to the US approach to denuclearizing Libya. In 2004, Libya agreed to hand over its weapons to the US, but only 7 short years later, the US, as part of a NATO initiative, invaded Libya and removed the leader, Colonel Gaddafi, who was later killed. Libya, as well as Iraq, have been commonly mentioned examples by North Korea as these kind of examples of the dangers of exposing yourself after denuclearization. North Korea has often said, we won't become another Libya. Like you mentioned, a key detail of this so-called Libya model is that it was authored by none other than the uber hawk John Bolton, the military-obsessed John Bolton. At the time of the Iraq invasion, he was George W. Bush's national security advisor, and now he's back in the White House advising Donald Trump. So having Bolton involved in any denuclearization deal with North Korea, especially Bolton, who's still talking about this Libya model, having that combination is so toxic for North Korea. immediately, as soon as they see John Bolton involved or they hear this Libya model, they're going to strongly and loudly and clearly, they're going to resist any chances of making a deal based on a Bolton model or a Libya model.
Yeah, based on the history between US and North Korea that you just explained, it seems that US was sure to know that North Korea would be very sensitive about this Libya model.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, Trump sort of illustrated, highlighted that he understood the North Korean position. He understood the North Korean sensitivities to this comparison with the Libya denuclearization model. So last year, before the Singapore summit, North Korea were at one point considering cancelling. And to try and calm North Korean worries, he actually said there wouldn't be any regime change. He said, Kim Jong-un would be there in charge, running the country. And then he said, quote, "The Libya model was a much different model to what they were planning. We decimated that country." So he's showing there, he knows very clearly that the Libya model was basically deceptive, very deceptive, and he knows why North Korea are so sensitive about it.
Then why would US still push the idea? They already knew that North Korea would not accept it.
Well, yeah, it's a good question. It's one that doesn't really have a clear answer. I mean, it's the first thing to say is it's not really a surprise because John Bolton's on board, and he has spoken very publicly and for a very long time about pursuing this Libya model to North Korea, and he's been very inflexible about that. Why have they persisted with this approach? Maybe it's because they're not actually that serious about giving negotiations and a diplomatic route a chance. Maybe they're going to be happy for this to fail so they can continue to justify the sort of hard route of pressure and sanctions. Just as a sort of conclusion, just a summary and some of my own thoughts. If you look through history and you look through the reasons why countries develop nuclear weapons and the opposite, why they decide to give up or denuclearize, there is a common theme, which is some sense of threat. All the countries that develop nuclear weapons, they nearly always did so because they felt some sense of threat. And similarly, when they denuclearized, they did so because the sense of threat was removed. So given the importance of feeling secure or feeling threatened when it comes to denuclearization, this constant mentioning of Libya by the US and applying this Libyan model does not take a step closer towards denuclearizing North Korea. It's quite the opposite. It has a really damaging effect and it heightens the sense of threat, not removes it. Okay, I hope that was interesting, and we will be back again next week for our 5th episode.
Okay, please subscribe our channel and
give us a like.
bye.